All right. So today we are talking about eating healthy whilst traveling.
Great topic.
Very great topic.
Lots of questions on that one. This one.
So many of you have gone on trips before and have been caught unprepared. Didn't have the right food. Had to stop off at a fast food restaurant and get something you know was not good for you or was not conducive to your healthy nutrition plan, which hopefully you're following.
And I think a lot of times people just pack their clothing and the things they need for their trip and think, woohoo, I'm on vacation. And they don't really think about food. So when you're on a plane and you have a 3-hour flight and they hand you a tiny package of peanuts and you're famished, that's a problem.
Mm-hmm. And that is a very good point that many times people will let go when it comes to going on vacation. Oh, I'm on vacation. Forget eating healthy. But remember, when you come back from that vacation and you step on the scale and you start crying, then you start to think, maybe I should have thought twice about just eating whatever was in front of me. Because a lot of time you go to those
cheat week.
Yeah, you go to the resorts and there's the buffet. And
yes.
I mean, I'll tell you myself, when I see that tray of bacon, I'm like, oh my God, this is endless bacon. And
yes.
I love bacon.
And pastries and Danish in the morning, if that's
Yep.
your thing. Donuts, granola,
Exactly.
just all the things. Your eyes are bigger than your belly and you just pile on. And you do that morning after morning after morning
Mm-hmm.
and dinners after dinner. You're going to come home 10 pounds heavier?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe.
And then men, you look in the mirror and for some reason there is a pastry stuck to your stomach and you're like, oh wow, that's actually inside me because now I'm fat. So we're going to give you some tips on how to eat healthy while traveling, be successful, stay on track with your nutrition while still enjoying yourself. And Miss Linda is going to lead us off.
Well, one thing that I really like to do when I travel is I use a meal prep company for some of my foods. Maybe not every single meal because I may want to enjoy a meal in a restaurant when I'm away or something special, but I will look at some different companies. There's one in particular that I really like to use that will ship right to my hotel or wherever I'm staying. So when I arrive, my food is there and all I have to do is put it in the fridge. And then it's just a matter of warming it up and having my meal. And a lot of times I'll make some of my own meals as well. So between the foods that I pack for myself and the foods that are delivered, I'm covered. And then I know, if I want to have dinner out, if we're going to take a restaurant and have something we enjoy. So that's definitely one way. I know you have a lot of ideas up your sleeve, so I'll flip it back to you.
So that was a great point as far as using meal prep companies. And there are lots out there. There are
many.
some that, there's always the larger ones who will service anywhere in the U.S., including Hawaii and Alaska and all that good stuff. And then if you look, there's probably some in some nearby towns around you. And hey, we're in a time right now where we're trying to support small business, so that might be a great thing for you to do.
That's a great idea.
And with a lot of these meal prep companies, you pick what you want. You pick the portion sizes, you pick the type of protein, the type of carbs, the vegetables. And one, it allows you to get things you actually want. Two, it allows you to get what you need. So proper portions equal staying according to your plan, and that makes everyone happy. So planning is insanely important. What I live by are the 5 Ps. Proper preparation prevents poor performance. And when it comes to traveling, you need those 5 Ps.
True.
So you've got to understand first, where are you going? Are you going to an area that you know will not have access to good food? That's going to take even more planning. 2, what food establishments, and that could be grocery stores, that could be restaurants, are in your local area? So something that Linda and I will do is call ahead to find out. Random example, is there a Whole Foods?
Trader Joe's.
Or if there's not, is it a mom and pop grocery store? What do they have? I'll literally call up and say, hey, do you guys have this? Do you guys have that? Do you guys have this?
Right.
And although you might think that's annoying, it's much better for you to take the initiative, find out what they have. So for one, you're out traveling, right? Let's say you have to use an Uber. You don't waste a trip over there to go there and realize they don't have what you need.
Right.
And 2, it's just better for planning. Hey, I can get everything at this one place rather than I'm going to get a little bit there, a little bit here, and being very inefficient with your traveling.
And when you book when you book your lodging, just to interject, usually you can look and see on Google in the area like what's there. So there may not be a Whole Foods, but maybe there's a another type of store that's like a Whole Foods. so you can sort of learn the lay of the land too, the geographical area before you get somewhere.
Mm-hmm. And sometimes the whatever hotel you book, the front desker might have some good tips because they might live locally. And go to this place.
Concierge.
The concierge.
Concierge.
The next, let's say you're going on a road trip, right? Or if maybe it's not a dedicated road trip, but you're just going to be in the car for a while. You people with kids, you know how this goes, right? Kids start screaming for snacks. Everyone's unhappy.
No.
You don't have your food.
That doesn't work.
Let's just go to McDonald's. Shut up.
I remember
You're
those
yelling
days.
too much. Yeah. So you've got to really prepare for this. So some tips. Grab some food that does not spoil, things that store easy. For example, rice cakes. I have no affiliation with this brand, but I love them because they are the best. Lundberg rice cakes. They come in lots of different great flavors. They got a great crunch, and they make all the other companies taste like crap because they do. They don't make them taste like crap, but they do when compared to Lundberg.
And the other great thing about Lundberg's is that, just to your point about having kids in the car, because I remember those days, but Lundberg's now has the little packages with the smaller size rice cakes in them, and some of them are flavored like white cheddar, but they have cinnamon, they have a lot of different flavors. So it's not like you're handing your kid a rice cake. Some of them they have flavored ones too that are great, that taste great.
But yeah, and even the plain ones in Lundberg are delicious.
Right,
so.
because you can put a little peanut butter on it and pass it back.
Even though that might end up stuck in the roof of the car, but choose your battles wisely.
It depends on how upset they are. It could just be worth it.
So then we have protein bars. Now, this topic, we're going to get into this in a future podcast, into the details, but most protein bars that you know and have seen marketed to you are glorified candy bars.
Correct.
So it's a bunch of soy protein, which is GMO, and it's maltodextrin or other sweeteners or carbohydrate substitutes, we're going to call them.
Sugar alcohols that cause stomach irritation.
Which is going to leave you farting for days. And
that's not
a
for
fun
vacation.
Yeah, that's not a fun car ride. That's a hot boxing in a way we don't like.
Or plane ride or train ride.
Exactly. And then we've got beef jerky. Now, again, be careful with the beef jerky because a lot of it's very high in sodium. And if you find one with a bunch of sugar, just read the labels. Reading the labels is power, right?
Absolutely.
A healthy dry cereal. Now, this is one you might not want to do with kids because once they throw that, it's all over the back seat.
True.
But there's different healthy cereals out there that are great because they don't spoil. You can measure them out if you bring yourself a measuring cup with you or something, or pre-measured in Ziploc
put them in
bags.
Ziploc baggies. Everything I say, and I think you would agree with me, right? Is everything that you can do ahead of time to prepare saves you. It just saves aggravation. It saves thinking. It just all that. Because when your blood sugar gets low and you're hungry, you don't want to measure. Or you just want food.
Exactly.
I know that's me, and I think that's you too. So
yeah, and you might make bad choices. So. And, of course, bring your water, right? Because you don't want to have all this nice dry food, and then you're chewing, and, oh, no, I need something to drink. And protein powder. Protein powder is such a great thing because it's protein. It doesn't spoil. Exactly. Right. A shaker cup. And
you can always get water and almond milk somewhere quick.
Exactly. So it is a great stowaway. And these are things, honestly, I keep stuff in my trunk even though I'm always around food. Just because, I live the fitness lifestyle, so that's what I do. But I've had points in my life where I've literally just had sleeves of rice cakes in my trunk, a tub of protein powder. Because, hey, if you get stuck in traffic and I'm there for 4 hours, there's an accident on the road, I need meals, I got them.
Now, I have a question, though. So Amazon, they do food delivery now, don't they? They can do it through a Whole Foods.
Amazon Fresh, yes.
So that's always an option wherever you go too, right? Is that you could use Amazon Fresh pretty much anywhere, but that's an idea. I've never used it, but I know people have.
Yeah, if there's a Whole Foods. So they only Amazon and Whole Foods are affiliated.
Right.
So, but there's what is it? Peapod or Green Pea or something like that?
Right, Peapod is Stop and Shop.
Yes. So there's different food delivery
services. But there's Fresh Direct.
Exactly.
So I don't know if they're national. It just depends. I guess you have to see which.
Yeah, so that's another thing is see what food delivery, because let's say you're a businessman and you're out on a business trip, and as soon as you land, you got to go to a meeting, then you got another meeting, and then you got to do this and that, and you might not have time to go shopping. So you might call one of these services ahead, have it delivered to the hotel, call the concierge. And tell them, hey, there is a package for Christian at the front desk. Please have that escorted to my room in the prepared fridge.
Pronto.
And that's another thing. If you're bringing food, seek out a hotel room that has a fridge or ask for one, because many times they can bring it to you. Even though it's not in the room already, you can have it added on.
And sometimes a microwave, too.
Exactly.
One thing that I like to do is to purchase something like a 6-pack bag or some kind of a cooler bag where you can put your ice packs in it. Most of the times the ice packs will get through security if you're going to an airport, as long as they're frozen. So just don't when they thaw out, put them somewhere where they'll freeze for your return trip. But a bag like a 6-pack, again, not affiliated with them, but you can pack lots of food, keep it cold for hours. So that way that's another way you can make sure you stay in the well-fed state.
Yes, and that's great, especially on a long trip, because in the summertime, we know you leave food in the car, especially rice, and I've had a lot of experience with this. Right? You come back, you open the container, should I eat this? Not sure, or am I going to have
even
diarrhea?
Proteins too, yeah.
Exactly. So next, if you have no choice but to eat the fast food, let's say you burned through all the food you had, you're on a trip. Let's say you're coming from where we are in New York/Connecticut, and you're going up to Vermont or Boston, whatever it is, and there is insane amounts of traffic, and you've already eaten your meals. And you're like, oh no, the only choice is this damn McDonald's
the Golden
at
Arches.
the rest stop. Oh yeah. And you're like, okay, this is my only choice. I have to eat. I'm either hangry or I'm on a specific meal plan and I have to eat every certain amount of time, whatever that might be. What do you do? How do you navigate this? So some suggestions from me are you can always stick with a meat and no bun, no fries, maybe with a salad. Right?
Yes, they do offer salads.
Exactly.
With chicken, too.
Exactly. You can never go wrong. Yes, it's not the best quality protein. We know that. We've seen all the studies and all the documentaries. But if that is all you can choose, get the meat, don't get the bun. You can also go for, this is my go-to, is take out Chinese food.
Yes, Asian places have...
And they are everywhere. They
Right.
are on every corner. They got more of them than pizza.
Steamed vegetables,
Actually,
rice.
interesting fact, there is more takeout Chinese restaurants than any other type of restaurant in the country.
That's interesting. I didn't know that.
So they're on every corner, and all of them offer steamed chicken, plain steamed rice, and you can get steamed green beans or broccoli, whatever it is.
And they always have the best steamed broccoli for some reason.
Yes, because it's
perfect.
Because it's, and my Italians will love this. I'm part Italian.
I am too.
Al dente.
It is.
So it is to the tooth.
To the tooth.
So you can order those basics, and you can order if you're like, hey,
making me hungry.
I'm already halfway through the drive, but I'm out of food and I'm going to need to eat again.
Yes.
You can order some to go. Just get, hey, I'm going to get a little bit extra rice, a little bit extra chicken, a little bit extra broccoli or green beans, and you're good for the rest of your ride.
Now, McDonald's also does offer oatmeal. Now, I don't know if they have it all day long or if it's just on the morning menu, but I know most of the fast food places do have salads. All you have to do is they give you the dressing in the packets, so you don't have to worry about putting dressings on the side. But and most of them have oatmeal, and Starbucks is always great too because they offer they have like an egg white spinach roll sandwich thing that's pretty low in calories. I've had it actually in an airport when I was really hungry and I was out of food, so that's not a bad option either. It's just Christian, it comes down to just really looking at what your options are and then in choosing something. And I think most people know what's clean. Anything covered in sauce or, super processed like French fries and fried foods, we know are off the table. But, you can usually navigate something somewhere, even if it's just a salad, but it's food, it's fiber, something to fill you up.
Exactly. And when in doubt, keep it basic, right? The more ingredients, the chances are there's more things in there you don't want to consume. And exactly at Starbucks, and now they offer like different protein shakes.
I know.
The protein quality is not
sugar.
the best, but it's an option.
Right.
And you can ask, be specific about what you want. I don't want this in the food. I do want that. Which brings me to my next topic, diners. Now, there's diners everywhere, especially on main routes like a Route 95 or Route 87, whatever, or 84.
Yep.
And there's diners at rest stops. Now, the benefit of diners versus like a fast food spot is diners offer anything. You can go there and get an egg white omelet.
Yep, all day long.
You can get a plain piece of beef. Just be very specific about what you don't want on the food. So, for example, the general population loves a ton of flavor. So they're automatically going to cook your food in butter or some sort of
shortening of some kind.
Yeah, or some sort of vegetable oil. And they're going to laden your food in it. So you say, because every diner has cooking spray, but you have to ask for it. Listen, I want this grilled.
Great point.
Waitress or waiter, I want this grilled. I want this steamed. And when they bring it to you, make sure it was.
Right.
When the waiter or waitress comes out, excuse me, was this steamed? Okay, thank you. Because if they don't know, chances are it probably wasn't.
Well, quick story, when I was away one time and I went to a an omelet bar. And I'm like, oh, I'm going to get some, get an omelet and put vegetables in it. And as soon as I walked up to the little, he put the skillet down and took a ladle of oil. I don't even know what kind of oil it was, and put a big ladle of oil in the skillet. And I looked at him and I went, no. I'm like, can you please dump that out? And do you have nonstick spray? And he was like, yep. And he reached underneath, pulled out a can of Pam or whatever it was, and, cleaned the pan and sprayed it. So be mindful, because you could make a nice low-cal, healthy protein omelet, and all of a sudden now it's this big fat laden meal. So
exactly. And again, when you're going out to these places like a Starbucks or like, whatever little bodega, it's good to stick with products that have a nutrition label on the back. You can't go wrong when you can see what's in the food. If you have to guess, then that's exactly it. You're guessing. Now, airplane travel. Okay, so we mentioned it a little bit, but there's a couple tips that you might not think of, right? The first thing is that you can bring food on an airplane. Some people don't know that.
Yes.
As long as there's no liquids in it or excessive, amounts of liquid.
Amounts.
So
the ice packs have to be frozen.
Exactly. If they're not, they're going to force you to throw them out. The same thing if you just put ice in it. If it starts to thaw out, they're going to make you throw it out. Not the food necessarily, but the ice.
Right.
And something, a tip actually my friend had done is sometimes where, the little kiosks where you can buy food, they've got ice dispensers. So if you have a little container, you put ice in it. When you get into the airport, before you go to, or after you get through TSA,
after security,
put the ice back in the little bag, and then you're good to go. Because, if you're flying to New Zealand, you got a long flight, so you're going to want to keep your food cold.
Good point.
And again, the 5 Ps are always what you think of first. Proper preparation prevents poor performance. Eat before you leave. So this is something where, it's not always possible, but eating before you leave allows you to go longer before you might need a meal. Or let's say you've got a super small carry-on and you're like, I just can't fit food in this. Well, if you eat as close to the time you can, and a good size meal, and hey, if you need to fill in, just eat a ton of vegetables with your meal so you're even more full, then you can go longer before you need to eat again, either after the flight or towards the end of the flight, whatever it might be, but you're buying yourself time. And back to when you're on the road, make sure you bring napkins, right? And plasticware. Yes. I can't tell you how many times I've been in the car. Like, great, I got my meal. Crap, I can't eat it. Or I got to eat it with my hands.
Or you're trying to drink oatmeal.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, yes. And there was one time where I put it on my lap, of course, so be careful of this. And I had to stomp on the brakes, and my whole footboard was covered in oatmeal.
That's not fun.
It was
That's like glue.
Oh, my God. It's terrible. And put your food containers in a plastic bag. So being a bodybuilder, I traveled with food so often, and Linda can attest to this too.
Yes.
And I've had so many bags tip over and the food spills, and now the bag is ruined, and you don't have your food. So now you lose a nice bag and you don't have your meal.
Right. And people do that with their shampoos and their conditioners, so you might as well do it with your food too.
Exactly. So put it in, whether it's a plastic shopping bag, a small garbage bag, you just a little fail safe to make sure that you don't ruin a nice bag if the occurrence where the food spills should happen.
Well, that's why the meal prep is helpful too. So even if you don't have your meals shipped to you to your final destination, you could have them shipped to your home. So at least you can pack some meals to take with you on the airplane, because they come in small little containers. They're very, size appropriate, and you can slide them into any little spot in your bag. At least you have it. Get a fork, a napkin, off you go. So it's definitely important, like you said, to eat before you leave, and then have something maybe before you get on the plane. And I like to always eat once I'm sitting in my seat and I'm all cozy. Then I pull out my food and I eat. So then I'm good for most of the trip.
Exactly. And one more tip for you guys is go for something like a snapware. Now this is glass food containers that have snapping lids that actually stay secure to the container. Because if you use plastic containers, hey, they work. You can tape them. I've done rubber bands. I've done duct tape, whatever. But these just seal so well that the fear that they might spill over, when you have to tuck your bag under the seat in front of you on the airplane, goes away because your food is secure.
And that's why the 6-pack bags are cool too, because they have little inserts. They just slide into their little compartment. You zip it up and you're done.
Bada
so,
bing.
Perfect.
So
hopefully those are tips that helped you guys.
Yes. And when you guys travel, now you've got the tools, the knowledge, and the know-how to be successful while you travel.
And you might lose a little weight while you're away too.
Hey.